Starting the new recording.
All right, so now I'm going to do well, first I'm going to save this one. I never remember to save before the first recording's over. All right, so that was 8-38.
All right, I'm gonna go because I'm getting.
Hi, Joshua.
Goodbye.
Yeah, no, don't feel like you guys have to stay. The recordings will be here so you can come back whenever. Okay, so I'm going to create a new design and sketch. Again, I'm going to go with this plane right here. So I'm drawing on the front plane. I'm doing 889. So I want my view to be the square with the circle. So I'm going to draw my square first. I think I'm going to go ahead and dimension the square before I put the circles in it. So the square should be about, looks like 3.24 by 3.24. Okay. Now there's a couple of different ways I can do this. I can go ahead and put the circles in here before I extrude, or I can put the circles on after I extrude. So I think I will do this. I'm going to put my circles in before. So I'm going to go ahead and click a circle, bring it down here. It doesn't really matter where you draw it for now, just sort of draw it in. Doesn't really even matter how big you make it. I'm just sort of eyeballing it, and then I'm going to kind of come fix it. So I'll even just make those all weird sizes. I know those aren't the correct size. Of course, now this drawing, they didn't tell me how big the circles were supposed to be anyway. The only thing they gave me were the dimensions, and then I have to sort of figure it out. But what they did tell me was that this circle from the center to this edge right here is 0.7. So I'm going to click there in the center. See how that little blue dot or the center line went blue? And then click down here. And now when I drag it off to the side, it's giving me the dimension from the center to the edge. So click, and I put 0.75. And now I need to go from the center to this edge, drag it down. And again, it should be 0.75. Now I'm looking at the scale on that drawing, and I'm going to guess, based on the dimensions and the proportions, that this hole might be somewhere on the order of about 0.5. So I click on the circle, drag it out, type 0.5. I'll show you that again. Just click, see how the circle goes bright blue? Click on it. See how it's got your diameter? So I can drag it out here. 0.5. I'm guessing, but I don't know that for sure. So we got to dimension it from the edge. So from the center to the edge, drag down, click, and that would be 0.75. Enter. From the center now to this edge, drag it out, click, 0.75. Okay, so I've got those two holes. They're sized and they are pinned in place. Now what about this one? They didn't give me a dimension on this one either, but they told me its location. So they said from the center to this edge over here is, wow, 1.62. That's because of the way I have my square. I just popped it to the center line. Okay, notice what I'm doing here with my dimensions. The smaller one inside, and the longer dimension line on the outside. And I'm going to go from the center to this line. I'll go this way, and it should be 0.75. Now, what size is this hole supposed to be? I'm going to take a guess that it is 1.5. I'm just guessing. Oh, okay. Obviously, that was a bad guess. All right. So to edit that, I'm going to double click there. It's not 1.5. Maybe it's 1. Okay. It could be 1. It might even be like 1.25. Maybe. All right. So now you know why it's really important to put all your dimensions in. If you have this part being made by somebody, if you care about the size of the holes, you better tell them how big they are. All right, I'm going to hit escape. And now I'm ready to extrude. So now notice what happens. If I click here, it doesn't select the holes. So I've selected my surface. I come up to solid, hit extrude. I'm going to rotate it a little bit. You don't have to, but I just sort of like to watch it extrude. Hit escape. I hit escape too many times. Let me try that again. There's my surface, solid, extrude. Okay, grab my arrow and drag it out, and I'm supposed to go 0.5. I went too far. So I'll edit that, and I'm going to make it go 0.5. And there's my part. Let's see if that looks kind of like what it's supposed to look like. Maybe. Yeah, that could be good. All right, so let's save it. Name, part number, 8-89. Okay, now, one last thing, Ms. Crystal, before you stop this. There was another way I could have made this one. So let's suppose that I wanted to do, let me just start a new one here, which by the way, you can start a new one by clicking on the plus here. You don't always have to go there. So let me show you how to do it another way. So create a sketch, click on the front surface. Let's draw my square. And let's dimension it. That side should be 3.24, and this side should be 3.24. Okay, now without putting the circles in, I'm going to go ahead and extrude this. So I'm rotating just a little bit because I really like to see the extrusion sideways. Select my surface, go solid, extrude, drag it out to there we go, third time's charm, 0.5. All right, so now I need to put my holes in there. So let's do this a little different. I'm gonna go here to click on the front face, so I'm straight on. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a sketch again, and I'm gonna say create a sketch on this surface. By creating sketch now and clicking on this surface, now what I'm doing is drawing on the surface of this plate. So now let's go and draw in my circle, circle, circle. Let's zoom in because that's kind of tiny. And let's dimension these like we had before. So dimension from the center to this surface is 0.75, enter. From here to here is 0.75, enter. And I think I said we were making it 0.5, 0.5, enter. Notice how I try, if you don't like where you place it, just click and drag and you can move it anywhere else. I generally just try to place it somewhere where it's not going to be in the way of another dimension. All right, let's do this one. Click on the circle, drag it out, 0.5. Now from here to here is 0.75. And from the center to this surface over this way is 0.75, enter. All right, those two are fixed. Now let's do this one. I think I decided it was going to be 1.25, which is a random guess. Well, not random, it was proportionally guessed. And from here to here is also 1.62. It automatically put it in the middle for me. Sometimes it makes smart guesses if it anticipates what you might want. The guesses are not always smart. And this is 0.75. Okay. So now what I need to do is I need to cut these holes out. So I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to select this one. Now if I just try to come click another one, then there's the first one goes away. So to click more than one, I click and then I hold the shift key and click another one, click another one. I can click out here too, but I'm just going to pick these holes because what I'm going to do now is I am going to come up to solid, extrude. Let's rotate just a little bit here. I can see my arrow. And this time I'm going to grab the arrow and drag it backwards. And you can see what it did now was it cut my holes, which I could have gone this way if I wanted, and then I would have had cool little pegs on top of it, but I'm going this way and it's cutting. Hit OK. It doesn't matter how far you go. I just drag it far enough to make sure it cuts all the way through, which you don't have to, by the way. You could just do this so it doesn't cut all the way through. But that's not what our part's supposed to look like. So cut it all the way through, drill it all the way. And there I'm done. So for the most part, this looks pretty much identical to the other one, although I used a different method to create there. So it's really, at this point, it's a matter of which method you like better. Miss Crystal, if you're still there, you can stop.
I'm still here. Okay, stop this one.